Okay, well, let's make it official. Actually, sorry. What should I be calling you? Should I be calling you Kat? Should I be calling you Katerina?
Look, Kat, but you could say, AKA Kitty San Pedro on social media, sometimes in an alternate form. Sometimes Katerina, occasionally when it's classical, but usually default setting is Cat Stevens.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes, you seem to have many, many personas.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, okay. Thank you, Kat. I am speaking with Cat Stevens. A different Cat Stevens.
I forgot. You actually recorded all that part too. I totally forgot after that. Yeah, that was a long introduction on my behalf about what my name was.
So, okay. Let's start like I always do. So, how did you get into music? Was there a particular light bulb moment when you said, music is going to be your thing? Tell us your story.
Cool. Okay. So I do remember that moment, but I actually it's weird because I don't remember the very first moment of like why I took up violin lessons. I was about 7. I don't remember what happened before that, and I remember not liking them, and I remember desperately wanting to do the piano instead, and so then I quit violin. And then I don't know what happened, but I took it up again at like 10 at school. I think because and I don't know why I didn't do piano. I just did violin again, but I have no reason why. And from that moment, my first teacher, her name was Shelley Barrett, and this was in primary school, straight away I was like, this is my thing. I reckon I was in grade 3 when I just thought, no, that's what I'm going to do when I leave school.
Really? That early?
Yeah, it was really early. I was like, I'm just going to play violin. And then when, in high school or, year 12, and they get you to think about your career options when you leave school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the piece of paper had 6, like we had to put our top 6 career choices. And I just had one. I just put one. It was just music.
Nice.
I didn't fill out. I was like, I'm doing music. There was no plan B for me.
Single-minded, I like that.
There was no, I know. Could have failed. Like, what if that failed miserably? But I had no backup option. I had auditioned for the two music schools in Adelaide, the School of Music and the Conservatorium at Adelaide Uni. My first choice was the School of Music. Got to that one, but I had no plan B.
Nice. Well, I guess considering you had no plan B, you had to make it work. And yes, violin. You do play violin. That's your main instrument.
It's my only. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I have seen you play baglama and juras.
Yeah. I have at gigs lately, but it took a while, I think, for me to actually not feel completely like a fraud or completely stupid attempting to play it. But now, I would go so far. I would play baglama at a gig. So violin / baglama. At a gig, but it's violin.
Do you remember what it was about the violin that attracted you to that instrument?
No, but it was definitely my first teacher. I think the teachers made or could have broken it. So I just had such good violin teachers that they just carried it through.
Fair enough.
But in hindsight, if I look back, I think the violin suits me. It's small. It's I think it's less, and it's a chamber instrument. So that's what I like about it. It's a group instrument, and it's small, and it's versatile.
Yes, it is. Now, it is versatile, but yes. You have mentioned, it's a chamber instrument. And yes, that's what I associate the violin with, classical music and orchestras, even though, I know, it's jazz, it's folk, it's Americana. But when I think violin, my mind goes to classical music and orchestras. Was that where your mind went when you picked up?
Yeah. Well, see, again, I think because of my teacher, I was just taught classical style,
Okay.
but I love it. In fact, I miss a lot of it now, string quartet playing. But so I always think that I'm a classical violinist, but I play some Greek music.
Okay.
But my background is classical. It like the classical style and approach to learning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you have done a fair bit of string quartet work, and have you done orchestra work? And
I would say more string quartet stuff and like a lot of gigs. A little bit of orchestra, but not symphony orchestra. I never, I knew I would never make it as an orchestral player. I just did not have it in me.
I guess it takes a serious amount of commitment.
It does. And a type of player. And I'm not an accurate player. So that's my downfall as a classical musician is lack of accuracy.
How do you mean? How do you?
Well, look, let's put it this way. If you're going to do an orchestral audition, they'll give you the excerpts. You have to nail them. You have to nail them. You have to play everything better than the hundreds of people that are all trying to get that job. So it's going to be accurate because you also have to play, you have to be part of the big machine in an orchestra. So that's the other accuracy. You can't just go, I kind of got to that note a bit later than everyone, or I did the wrong bow change. You got to be accurate.
Yeah, understand.
Look, I think with classical, there is this real sense of what's right and wrong. There's a real sense of failing and getting something right. And I think a lot of classical musicians carry that with them. But I think so. I think, that there's that real sense of I did something good or I failed it.
Yourself and a handful of others are kind of part of the alternative underground Greek music scene, playing rebetika and non-mainstream styles. How did you come across this style of music, considering that, you started off primarily as a classical player?
I remember being asked to do to play at a gig for Greek music, and at that point I hadn't played any, and it was all charted, and I was like, great, that is the classical musician's dream. Rock up, sight read. I can sight read anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is some great stuff, because I always thought Greek music, I was really put off by it because it just reminded me of wedding stuff, and I was like, oh, so super bad, cheesy. And then I realized oh, it's not. And then I just did, that was in Adelaide, played a little bit more, but then I think I might have got asked to do a dance concert, which was a really next level, because I had to start learning music from memory. This is not something I had done before or thought that I would do or thought that I could do. So that took a while. Now I'm less daunted. If I have to learn some tunes, I just accept the fact, I've got to learn them by ear. I still need to, set aside the time to learn them. I can't expect that I'm just going to listen to them once and learn them. But it's not such a major issue for me anymore, because I think I've played enough to kind of get the riffs. So I know a bit of the shape of where they go, but I think that that's the same with classical music. You kind of know, so play something in a Mozart style or Bach style. You can do it because you kind of know the vibe or a riff that would fit. But rebetika, I can't, I actually don't know. I think I just started playing more and I was like, this is cool. I like more of this style.
Yes, and I hear you when you talk about what you thought Greek music was, and then you kind of realize that there's more to it.
Yeah, so I guess I was hearing it as a kid in the 80s and 90s. So this is 80s, 90s Greek weddings.
Yes, you mentioned you are from Adelaide. Yeah. So, what prompted the move to Melbourne, and how long have you been in Melbourne now?
I've been in Melbourne 6 years. What prompted it was to play Greek music. This is why I moved.
Interesting.
So I think after a while I was, a bit sick. I was very sick at Adelaide. and I was really bored. And I had a friend and colleague, Patty Montgomery, who'd already moved over. And
Okay,
I'd sent
Patty's
a
from
message
Adelaide
saying,
as well. Wasn't aware of that.
yeah, there's a few of us
Okay.
from Adelaide that made the move. And I said, what's this, what's the scene like for violinists, Greek violinists in Melbourne? I can't remember what his answer was, but I was like, oh, come over, check it out. And someone saw that, I actually posted that on his Facebook page, and someone saw that post, who is now a musical colleague of mine, Byron Drandafilidis, and sent a message and was like, well, I'd like to play with a violinist. And I thought, hey, that's cool. I'll just go to Melbourne and see who I can meet. And I remember vividly arriving in Melbourne, and the first thing I went to was Clay Pots on a Thursday night, which had, Alwan playing, Middle Eastern music, completely packed. And I was like, oh my God, what? I'd never seen it before. So that kind of sparked it on. And I was living in Adelaide, traveling to Melbourne for gigs, Greek gigs, or things like, Queen Vic night markets, South Melbourne market, like those types of cultural gigs where we were playing Greek music, little festivals, gigs for MAV, stuff like that. The Greek Film Festival, opening night for Greek Film Festival.
Playing what tunes and playing with?
Well, probably we were playing a mix, but we were playing a few Rebettica stuff. But it was a setup, so violin, guitar, percussion, and piano, accordion, and we're called the Gypsy Cats. And it was it was less hardcore Rebettica, and it was a bit more of it was a bit sort of chaotic. I think it had a bit of a shambolic type of chaos style to it, but very good for festival vibe. So but then I moved 6 years ago. I thought I'd made the move, and I think it's probably in the last couple years or year that I've really gone, I kind of like the real heavy Rebettica stuff.
What is it about the sound that kind of appeals to you?
Well, I just think I got more negative and jaded. I got less optimistic, and I also found that Rebettica was a great outlet to channel those negative emotions and rage without it manifesting into something physically violent. It was like, and the words spoke to me a little bit more, like, you've caused me so much pain. I've gone to the doctor and nothing works. I drank some stuff. I took some more drug, but I'm still in pain. Like, it just felt like the next step.
Well, remind me if I notice you in a bad mood to kind of steer clear.
That's it. Or just play Rebettica. If I'm playing, you'll be fine if I'm playing. But also because I play the violin, so I play a lot of Nisiotika stuff, so the island music. That's the violin. And that's all kind of, it's all light, it's floaty, everyone's wearing light clothing, the sun's out, and I really like it. I love the island stuff on the violin. But it's, Rebettica is a different mood altogether. But I actually think it's relevant. It's a type of protest music.
And the rise in the popularity of Rebettica has really it shows no signs of slowing down.
I don't think, and I think it's a large non-Greek crew audience that are into it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Without understanding the words, which in fact I don't even think it's relevant. Like for some reason and that's the thing. It's like, what is it that gives that vibe? And there's a point, and I think it's a lot of the 9/4s, the 9/4 rhythms, and the slow Zembekika stuff, because it really and a lot of it you could play one chord to throughout. So it's like a drone, and then you've got that slow with the group of 3 at the end. It's a very trancy vibe, and I think people dig that.
I guess you've already answered my next question of did you know any musicians in Melbourne? But yes, turns out you did. Patty Montgomery.
Well, no, I knew one, and then I met everyone else.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you knew Paddy who had moved over.
Yeah.
You ended up meeting Byron because, yeah, he
Byron's the
said...
next person I'd met. Yep. And
And
then I'd met, so then in the band I'd met Roscoe and Alistair, the other boys in the band that we formed, quite on the spot. And because I'd gone to gigs, then I met the Alwan guys, and through that, ended up forming, through the percussionists in Alwan, ended up forming and being asked to be in another band, a Turkish psychedelic band, down the track. So yeah, it was, and then all these branches came out, like being in it. Paddy and I then did another Magna Grecia ensemble, which was with the guys from Santa Taranta. So the Italians and the Greeks joined, and we did that. And so there were lots of little offshoots that came out from coming over.
very cool. Is there much, I don't know, is there much audio, video, anything from all of these things?
Well, all over the place, probably on social media. I've got a YouTube channel that I've put some. I did put so the Turkish band was Cosmic County. I've got a couple of recordings from that, and some live, videos. But I don't. It exists somewhere. There'd be somewhere on Facebook.
Somewhere out in the ether.
Somewhere, on the internet.
You play on a fairly regular basis these days with Pascal Latra. Part of doing the Rebetica stuff. So yeah, how did you and Pascal meet up? And yes, you do seem to play fairly regularly with Pascal. So what is it about the two of you, the duo format, that you kind of enjoy?
Well, actually, so before that, we started a group called Bandidas, and so that came out of me wanting to do something that was all female. And then we'd asked Apollonia Xilouris, who was playing the oud. And I'd never met her. I never knew her, but I was like, well, look, if you're game to play some Rebetica, do you want to join in? So we just, it started from there, really. And, the hard thing now is it's like, it feels like there's not a strong unit of female musicians to form, a full band that would, as opposed that would rival all the, the other bands that the guys are in. So I guess I'm looking for that. I'm looking for, how, because I still think that, if you looked at the Greek Centre's programming for Live at the Greek, you would see, the same kind of bands, the same musicians. You don't see much variation. And if you were going to count how many females get, throughout the entire year there, it's a pretty low number. One of the concerts we fought really hard to do, and my friend Coralie Dimitriadis, who is a poet, drove a lot of it with me, was to do a concert called Greek Girls to the Front. So it was that play on the punk, on the Girls to the Front, Girl Riot slogan, and we put Greek in brackets, so Greek Girls to the Front, where we had Bandidas play, Coralie's doing spoken word, and we had another DJ, Eleni, a friend of ours, DJ as well. So that was great. So I'd like to somehow get some more, Greek girl power gigs happening.
Well, I think it's a case of the more others see you doing it, the more they'd be likely to kind of say, well, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess too, like what I think, and it might sound a bit negative, is that there's a real watering down of Greek music. It's sort of, everyone is quite happy to accept a nice level. There's not much challenging going on. And that annoys me. You know, I find that annoying. I don't know what else to do about it. I haven't really worked that out, but I find that it gets mixed in, you know, like the fact that you might see different bands but they've got the same players, you know, the same musicians are playing in there's slight variations, but we're like this shade of beige, you know. We're in a safe zone, which is bizarre because Rebecca is pretty out full on. But we're all a bit kind of pleasant. We're all really nice. We're all having like a really nice time sitting around tables smiling. It's like, hello. No one was smiling, you know. No one was smiling.
Absolutely.
Surely. Like Rebecca. So like, you know, I have this idea that I'd love to do a real underground gig where the audience get the location the day of the gig, you know, perhaps even a password. I think that it's appropriate for protest concerts. I think it's we should get out of the pleasant you know, restaurant and then get it out into venues or places that are fighting systems, you know, but far out. Everyone's sitting around smiling around a, you know, clapping their hands like, yay. There are so, you know, there are other musical style or other, you know, groups pushing things or, you know, challenging whether they're getting political. And I think it's political, like it's political music. And we shouldn't be, you know, I've never seen anything that was very kind of confronting at the Antipodes Festival. My thing, I would want to push it a little bit more and play it at an event that was political or there was a point to it, you know, there's a purpose to it. A better, you know, there's a benefit concert hopefully in the works. I'm not organised, so I can't talk about it. But it's the type of thing that Rebecca needs to be at.
So you obviously have, I don't know, kind of, I guess, ideas, political kind of things that you are passionate about by the sounds of it.
Well, you know what the weird thing is? It's just like the bizarre thing is over the last year, I have been called a Marxist lefty commie by more Greek people than I have ever had in my life.
It's a good thing.
Well, this is the thing. I think now I'm like, okay, I'll own this. This is okay. I'd rather be there. But it is very bizarre, to the point where someone called me up the other day and told me that people are saying, well, Kat's a lefty, Kat's this, Kat's that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not seeing any, I'm not hearing the negative.
Yeah, exactly right, yes.
The compliments. But I think that the other thing is I'm less, I care less about not confronting people or, you know, than perhaps I used to. But I actually think that I would like to see more Greek musicians bring in, when I say this, looking back, I think some of them are very vocal about particular opinions that I think are crap. But I think musicians have a duty to be political.
Yeah, where's the protest music these days, huh?
Yeah, I think that, well, maybe because I haven't, you know, I've missed it in my upbringing, really. Never had to do it. I mean, so maybe that's it. Maybe there's a bit of that.
Fair enough.
Or maybe just getting older, like, you know, when you hit like 40, you kind of don't really care. You care less about what people think of you. I think that there was, you know, I think if you're smiling, you're polite, and, you know, there was a time you could, you know, we talked about the multiple names and personas that I've used, and it also usually coincides with a different type of band, and my outfits and style also tend to change along with what I'm playing on the type of gig. And I think there's a noticeable shift in what I was wearing at gigs 5 years ago and what I'm wearing at gigs now. it's sort of just like an external manifestation of what's going on inside. And I do feel like those, what I was when I look back, and the flowers in the hair and the dresses, and is kind of not me so much anymore, and again, I think that's to do with, yes, smiling and having fun, everyone having a good time, because there's a lot of that, I think, in the Greek scene, is that the audience, they want to have a good time. So as musicians, you're often playing, so they're having a good time, and almost like a jukebox, you're almost just tuning out the tunes just so people can dance and keep going. They don't like that song, they'll come and tell you, can you play this song? They come and ask you requests, It's at the end of the night, you've played for 6 hours, they're like, one more, we want to keep dancing. There's a lot of that, which is so different to the classical music scene, where the classical audience will pay $30 for a ticket, they'll sit down and they'll watch a concert for 1 hour. It's over. They don't ask for more. They're happy with that.
So will there be more, Greek girls to the front kind of stuff? Do you hope to?
I don't know. I'm actually, so I feel like my next, I've been doing some playing with my friend Nikki, who is a poet, and we did some concerts at Acme not that long ago, and I sort of play, with her, sometimes underneath her poetry, sometimes in between, and I've really liked that. And I play a lot of, Greek style stuff or Rebecca riffs. I'm doing another gig coming up with Coralie for her performance at La Mama Theatre. There's something on later in the year. And again, I'm kind of liking doing, I guess, how is it I can play Greek music without the pressure of the Glendy and the expectation and the rehearsals and the constantly tuning out music and the late nights and hanging around men, how can I still do that, and feel like I'm still at least getting a little bit of, getting it back, playing some of the music, still playing some Greek music. And it might be with the poets, I actually think the poet, I know so many poets, which is so bizarre because I've never done any poetry or written a poem in my life or even understand poetry.
Going back to, you had mentioned that, yourself and Pascal, the duo thing came out of the Banditas, which was yourself, Pascal, and Apollonia. Is that formation still a thing? How active?
No, because Appy's back to Greece. And in fact, there aren't actually any gigs booked in the future. I don't actually have any Rebecca stuff booked in.
Fair enough.
So that's sort of at the point, this 6 months in, it's at a point where I'm like, well, I wonder what the gigs are going to look like for me. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Maybe it is the poll. Like I said, they've got something coming up with Coralie, and but maybe this is the chance now to do. I've always thought, I bought this microphone and over lockdown, the first one, got Audacity, started recording some stuff, and I started recording backing, myself doing really simple backing tracks. I can't even call them backing tracks, but they're just so simple. And I'm like, well, maybe this is the chance for me now to get set up as a soloist with the very simple backing tracks, get the whole laptop thing playing on top, That's the next stage, I feel. I haven't quite got there yet. I'm still being a little bit too kind of lazy with actually doing it live.
Fair enough. Well, it sounds interesting. So you'll have to let me know when the gig is on, and I'll see if I can make it. Now, at the moment, the band that you're probably most active with is Omados, or is it Omados or Omados? What's the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, well, look, when I look it up on the internet, it's Omados, over the accent on the A, but it means it's the personification of battle noise. So it's when two armies sort of come together and they clash. Yeah. And the reason why we use that word is because we were thinking, oh, what's something that can describe the noisiest instrument in the world, like which is the gaita? Well, probably one of the noisiest instruments, the bagpipes. And we thought that was very fitting, you know.
Fair enough. So yes, the Omados features some serious players. So tell us about who is in the band.
Right. So we have Paddy Montgomery, who is usually on lauto, so the engine of the band, the one who plays nonstop throughout the whole. He plays various other instruments, but he's the rhythm section. But he'll play oud or chumbush. And we have Joseph Tsompanopoulos, who plays the gaita, but also the kaval, and he's a singer. George Athanasakos on clarinet, who can also play a variety of instruments, but he's, we get him on lead clarinet. I play the violin, and Roscoe Heck is percussion. And we do have it. So we have an EP as well that you can buy on Bandcamp.
You most certainly do.
Yeah, and you can just look up Omados, and it's like only $10. So, but the aim was to get a whole CD. But we met in Adelaide for accompanying a dance group for a dance concert, and that's when after that we were like, maybe we should form. It was actually Joey, George, me, and Patty. Roscoe came a bit later, but that's when we thought, okay, let's form a band and play. And Joey's a dance teacher, so there was a lot of us playing and accompanying his dance group, Originating, which I really love. Which COVID, put a little bit of a halt to that. Yeah, but we just recently did a concert in May for the independence from the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, it's a really great repertoire. And coming up, we've got something for the Thracians, the club. So that's a dinner dance, which got postponed. So I think we've got a later date for that. But ideally, what I hope happens is that the dancing can get back and we can get back into accompanying live, which is, one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Now, when you're doing that accompaniment to live dances, that's obviously quite different to playing just a gig, playing to an audience.
Yeah.
So is it easier? Is it difficult? Is it just different?
It's harder. Yeah, I think it's harder because you're taking your cues from the dancers. So you do really need to know the music, but you're looking at the dancers for the endings, like that's when you're going to be so on the ball to finish a song, go into the next one. But for me, that's the real reward of playing, is playing along to the dancers with the live music.
And how did the gig go?
Oh, really well. And gosh, I don't know. There may be some videos up. If you look at the dance group was the Greek Orthodox community in South Australia. They've got some videos up. You can follow their Facebook page. And, full costumes, stunning, visually stunning, and some great repertoire.
And yes, I guess the next obvious question is, what are your own Greek dancing abilities like?
Look, I don't know degree. I mean, apart from the, Kalawat like basic, but I actually now really want to go and learn the intricacies of some dances because then it just ties in. So I'd love to do, Greek dance classes. I'm always telling Joey to do more adult beginners, classes. But yeah, absolutely. I'd be really into it. And just the thing about the traditional stuff is different from Rebecca stuff is that there's just so much of it in every single region and it's all different. Like it's all different. The costumes are different. The songs are different. The dancing is different. It's the instrumentation is different and it's just unbelievable. One end to the country, the other. It's like you're in a different universe with the music. Like you listen to Cretan stuff and then you go, how the hell does that even match going to the island stuff or the Peloponnese? Or then you go to like Ipiros up there and then you listen to the Ikariotiko, which is like full trance. And it's like, how you're not even that far away from each other. My favorite though is Asia Minor. For me, that's where I really into the musical sound and want to play more stuff.
Interesting. Cool. Now, yes, with regards to, I'm going backwards again. With regards to Omados, yes, I mentioned there's some serious players in that band, one of them being yourself, obviously. But what's it like playing with musicians of that caliber who you know are going to kind of push you?
Well, yeah, that's it, exactly, because they're always like, learn this, and I'm like, oh my God, that's too much. But, you know, there's something really nice about knowing that there's a really, so like for me, solid accompaniment section. You know, that's your guitarist or your outdoor player. And if that is solid, then everything just feels, it's nice, you feel supported. But of course, the thing is, like, we all have slightly different, you know, George is a real lead player and he's solo, you know, so he's the one soloing and taking lead. Again, but you know, Roscoe can play a variety of percussion, so that's also means that we can do different regions as well and different percussion as well. And yeah, I just think, and again, the fact that Joey can play different instruments, we can cover a lot of regions. The violin does seem to be consistent across a lot of stuff, but the thing about the dance music is that it really like the violin shines in that, and in the island stuff especially. So I think we can sort of cover enough. One of the nice things that I think we've done is we've made some of our own arrangements. Cool. So there's a Ikariotiko on our EP that is literally 3 kind of put together where we've connected them. So it's our own version.
Nice. And is there plans for future recording at the moment?
Yeah, look, we would like to record a full album.
Okay.
You know, that's the plan.
Is the music written? Are you aware of what you kind of want? How far into the kind of planning is it?
Of the album?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just an idea at this stage. Okay. It's just like we've always said, no, we want to finish it. So yeah, at this stage, just an idea. But I think what we need is more people to buy the EP so we can get some funds to record an album.
For the price of $10, people. For the price of $10.
In fact, you could just buy one song for $2. If every Greek in Oakley spent $2, then they
whereas they're happy to spend $10 on that frappe.
That's right, you know, and vanilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really soaking up the Greek culture there. Never mind the people playing trad instruments, you know.
No comment.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to comment on that. I'll comment on that publicly.
Yeah. That's on you. I didn't say a word.
Yeah, that's totally me, everybody.
So, all right. Trying to make a living as a musician is tough enough.
Yeah.
But yes, you're playing kind of niche music to niche audiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how you've already mentioned you're kind of interested in branching out. So, I mean, yeah, how easy or difficult is it, you know, playing Rebetika and the Greek style of music and also kind of paying bills, I guess?
Oh, look, I just wouldn't. I have a full-time job. And that is really priority over music. It consumes my time. What little energy is left, I can do some music in. But yeah, I mean, I think to make, I think the people who are making the money from music, I mean, and I'm talking, my colleagues, they have to work a lot. You do a lot of gigs, and you have to do a lot of weddings, and you got to do the christenings, and you've got to do the you've got to do those gigs, which I don't like doing. I don't do them, but I can choose not to do them.
That's right. It's good to have that the ability to choose.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think that's my ultimate aim, is that now my music can be, I can choose to do it, and it's always my choice. So there's always a reward for doing it.
Let's go a couple of non-music related questions to finish things off with. So what is it about cats that you love so much?
Oh, my cat. I don't know. I mean, I think it's mostly because I loved my cat, and then I just got obsessed with cats. But there is that thing that makes that cats have these, they can pass on a disease that make you crazy, and they make you love cats more. So maybe it's that. Maybe that's
okay, this is the first time I've heard of this.
No, okay, but in all seriousness, I like cats because I love the way they look. First, I love their style. It's like having a bit of the jungle. They're wild. They could kill you if they wanted to, but when they don't, it's kind of special. I like that that you can have them close and you can have a bond with them, but they're independent. They're not so demanding of your time and personal space. But mostly, I think I like that they're wild. That they are essentially a killer. They're a wild animal, and we coexist with them.
Nice. All right, and yes, we did touch on your personas and the clothes you wear and that kind of thing. You do have quite a love for expressing yourself through clothes and dress and that kind of thing. So where does that come from, and what do you kind of get out of that perhaps you don't get from music?
Yeah, right. So yes, I've had lots of chats about this too with my friend Nikki, because we have a Fashion Friday live stream on Fridays, and this has come up a lot. And I found that during lockdown, that's when I really got into selfies and dress up and photography. And I do all the photos on my Instagram just taken on my phone. All the makeup and the effects are just me on my phone. But it really became a way to do something physical and creative. And it was on call. I could do that lockdown in my house. But I really then started enjoying playing around with the effects and photos, and then playing characters. And I think I just think it was a really good way to direct all the negative emotions that came out from COVID and lockdown, and seeing things stop and jobs on hold, and it became it's a physical thing for me. I don't like running. I don't like I don't know. I don't like going out socially with lots of people, or going to a music festival, or I don't, directed it into that. But I just found it really creative, and it made me think, okay, what have I got? It was like that, that Ready Steady Cook show where they're like, cook something and here's 5 ingredients that we found in a cupboard. I was like, okay, I have this and this and this and this. What can I make? And then I kept pushing myself with different things. I have this, and I've got this top. Okay, this is broken. Well, what if I turned this into this? So I found it more like a challenge to me to use what I had in my house over the last whatever 8 months in lockdown.
Nice. Well, that is all the questions I have to ask.
That were awesome questions.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, shucks. Any final words?
No. I mean, I would urge everyone to look at Omados on Bandcamp and listen to the tunes, buy a song, or buy the EP if you want. Subscribe to me on YouTube. It's Kitty San Pedro. If you can, I think, it all helps. the more subscribers you get, I think, you know, you can get noticed and perhaps a paid ad, because I know people want more paid ads. I don't want ads on YouTube, but and my Instagram is Kitty San Pedro, and you can follow that as well. And
that's it.
Just, you know, just to connect and just throw a comment or a like, and just know that if you are also into all this other stuff, then it's nice to know that there's people out there who are also into the same things.